7 News published a series of news broadcasts on television and on our websites, as well as social media posts about Qausar Abbas, also referred to as Qausar Ahmed. A photo of Fatma Mallouk was mistakenly used in those publications.
Hello, I'm Linton Besser. Welcome to Media Watch. And first tonight, the not very small error of wrongly identifying a woman as a potential ISIS loyalist and sympathiser of terrorists, when Channel 7, amidst the frenzy that greeted the recent arrival of 4 so-called ISIS brides, didn't bother with a fact check.
Some of the women are expected to be arrested for questioning following months of debate over whether they should be allowed to return to this country.
Because that last woman is not an ISIS bride at all, but someone else entirely. Rather than Qausar Abbas, she is Fatma Mallouk, who for the past 6 years has been living not in detention in Syria, but in the suburbs of Melbourne, with 7 rolling out a grovelling mea culpa last Wednesday.
7 News sincerely and unreservedly apologises to Ms Mallouk for any hurt, embarrassment or damage that it has caused by this error.
And the balls up was a doozy. The photograph running alongside breakfast TV commentary like this.
Slavery, terrorism, crimes against humanity, all alleged.
Slathered across 7's social media accounts, then replayed that night during prime time in Sydney.
Qausar Abbas headed for Syria 2014 for a family wedding. Her husband suspected of funding IS.
Melbourne.
The ISIS brides are one concern for police and ASIO, but others argue their children have been largely forgotten.
And every other television market, coast to coast, across Australia. The following day, according to her solicitor, when Fatma Mallouk became aware of 7's grotesque error, she sprung into action.
Fatma sent an urgent email to the news desk of 7 News and categorically stated that she was not Qausar Abbas. She also asked them to cease any further publication of her image and publish a correction. They did not respond.
Instead, 7 carried on its defamation, running Mallouk's photo again that Friday night across the country and for good measure in its Sunday and Monday night bulletins, until Fatma Mallouk hired a lawyer who finally managed to get 7's attention. 2 days later,
Ms Mallouk is in no way associated with the crimes that Qausar has been charged with.
So what on earth happened? For starters, it's possible 7 had decided to follow the always cautious lead of that paragon of forensic research, the Daily Mail, which first published the photo after rifling Facebook and assumed, but never checked, it was correct. Unlike 7, the Mail did respond when Mallouk complained to it, removing the image and printing this correction. News Corp, meanwhile, had published that photograph too at the top of news.com.au's homepage and in the Saturday Telegraph and the Advertiser, as well as online, where it stayed syndicated across its titles. The company unaware of its error until we contacted it last Friday. This editor's note finally appearing the following day. Fatma Mallouk's lawyer told us her client was devastated.
This has caused her extreme distress and has seriously damaged her reputation.
Neither the Daily Mail nor News Corp would explain to us their errors, and when we asked 7 how it screwed up and why it declined to respond to Fatma Mallouk's earlier entreaty, a spokesperson told us
an error was made and corrected.
That clears that up then. Although 7 has been here before, these from the past few years.
Earlier this morning, reports of the incident incorrectly named the perpetrator. 7 apologises for any distress caused by our earlier reports.
We mistakenly included images of Alistair McLean of McLean Sport Horses.
We got it wrong. Mr Kelly, a new father himself, was in no way connected with Cleo's abduction.
In the story we aired earlier, we accidentally showed the wrong person when referring to the suspect.
It is perhaps understandable that serious mistakes are made in the scramble to cover a rolling news story. It might even be forgivable. But when you're airing among the worst possible allegations about a person, complicity with terrorism among them, why you wouldn't hasten slowly is beyond me. Oh, and what is unforgivable? The failure to listen when you're being told you've got it wrong. Seven can now expect to pony up some very serious compo. And now to the Canberra disease that has thoroughly contaminated Downing Street.
Will you resign, Prime Minister? Is your term over?
Will you challenge Keir Starmer? Westriding, do you want the job or not?
Less than 2 years after Sir Keir rode a Workers' Party landslide into office, another may see him removed after a bloodbath election 11 days ago saw Labor lose almost 1,500 English council seats, most to Reform UK, led by beer-swilling populist and Brexiteer-in-chief Nigel Farage.
Farage's vow to fix Britain.
Election meltdown.
The stunning result, rather cheerful too, for British broadcasting upstart GB News.
I think Nigel Farage is likely to be the next Prime Minister. I do.
No question, Reform is flying.
It's been a huge victory today.
Nigel Farage is not just leader of Reform, he's also the network's most high-profile primetime presenter.
Labour, if you believe the opinion polls, are headed for absolute catastrophe.
Now 5 years old, GB News has upended British politics with a relentless diet of pro-conservative, light-on-facts programming that has stoked division.
In 10, 20 years, there will be no white nations left, and then the question is, where do white people go?
Aired racist jibes.
There seems to be a big surge in candidates who can barely speak English, like this guy, nicknamed Halal Capone.
Hello, my name is Julian Nister.
His other nickname is Pablo Tescobar.
And legitimised the Great Replacement conspiracy theory.
The European white population have become minorities, and that's the main problem. There's no consent for mass replacement immigration.
First broadcast in 2021, the patently right-wing channel got off to a rocky start.
Scottish Conservative leader Douglas Ross says he just wants answers about the PM's attendance at this party as he continues to swerve questions about it.
So I'm just going to call in on my phone.
Losing its founding chairman and star anchor, Andrew Neil, an eminence grise of British journalism, just months after its launch. Since then, the station has become a force to be reckoned with, opening each morning with a rousing rendition of the national anthem. And eclipsing BBC's News Channel as Britain's most watched dedicated television news service. Critical to its rise and rise, Chief Executive Angelo Frangopoulos, an Aussie who, after years running Sky News Australia, unpacked from his suitcase the same after-dark formula of dogmatic, archly conservative programming, running it during daytime hours too, and turning the dial to 11 in giving Farage his own show.
Why am I here? Why have I decided to join GB News full on?
Oh, I think we know, Nigel. Though it hasn't hurt either that GB News has paid Farage at least £400,000 sterling in just the 2 years since he was elected to Parliament. His hour of prime time all the more precious with the UK's ban on political advertising on television.
A political party has in this country for the first time essentially got its own broadcasting platform.
Earlier this year, Alan Rusbridger, the former long-standing editor of The Guardian, commissioned a survey of GB News's output before publishing a devastating critique of a broadcaster riddled by
glaring breaches of impartiality, a widespread disregard for accuracy, a predominant framing of news in ways that overlap with Reform's political agenda.
With even GB News's former chairman, Andrew Neil, agreeing that
just as Fox basically became the channel of Donald Trump, it's clear they have turned GB News into the Reform channel.
Nigel Farage, who also holds 500,000 shares in GB News's parent company, which last year ran up a £29 million loss, has, of course, been instrumental in this foxification of the channel. And he's not the only political animal with a GB News show. Martin Daubney, previously a member of the European Parliament for Farage's then Brexit party, has one, as does another currently serving Reform MP, Lee Anderson.
And they're coming out in their droves to vote for something different.
Other figures from Farage's political movement have also had their own shows, including the party's deputy leader, Richard Tice, Michelle Dewberry, Darren Grimes and Matt Goodwin.
Reform UK have promised to throw the kitchen sink at the Northern Sea.
4 days after that broadcast, Goodwin himself was announced as Reform's candidate in that very by-election.
This is a referendum on Keir Starmer.
The former political editor of rival Sky News believes GB News, which has also employed Conservative Party MPs as presenters, consistently fails the impartiality test.
Should GB News have been given the status of a news broadcaster alongside Sky and ITV and Channel 4 and the BBC? In my personal view, not.
And what impact did GB News have on Reform's prospects at the recent election? Russ Bridger says...
Quite a lot. No other party is given that platform every night. It's just extraordinary.
We asked Angelo Frangopoulos whether his network has helped Reform's political campaign and why it was proper to appoint politicians as broadcast television presenters. He told us the channel takes its responsibilities seriously.
GB News is Britain's #1 news channel. We have achieved this by challenging the narrative of the establishment media, which sees journalists serving journalists and not the people of the United Kingdom.
It is not new that media proprietors have barracked for political outcomes, if not political parties. But GB News, with its skewed roster of politician presenters, pushes the boat out further and tows debate away from long-accepted standards of impartiality and balance. Sure, a happy development for the likes of Nigel Farage, a pity for everyone else. And now to the solution to Australia's housing crisis. Not a reduction in tax breaks for investors and not faster approvals, but plonking us all into a garden shed.
As the Australian dream of owning a home becomes further out of reach for many West Aussies, a new option is growing in popularity.
James Beard and Bella Plunkett have just built a home in Chittering. From the outside, it looks like a shed. Inside, it's got all the regular features.
2.5 weeks ago, 9 News took its WA viewers into the verdant countryside of Chittering, 70 kilometres northeast of Perth, to meet a young couple making their start in a house of colorbond.
It's everything a home would be, just with tin on the outside.
The customisable style, a good fit for their country life.
And who has helped this plucky pair on the path to domestic bliss? The hero of our story.
Demand has just gone insane. It's crazy.
Yes, Randall Smith, the owner of Shed Homes WA, was more than happy to explain to Nine exactly why shed homes are the way of the future.
I can't build a house more economically than a shed house. For the size per square metre, it can't be done.
With Nine's reporter venturing inside one of Randall Smith's lovely homes for the all-important piece to camera.
These homes come in a kit requiring less tradies to build, the process saving costs and time.
An easy-to-build kit, fewer Now, hold on. What was the reporter's name? A Sarah Smith? Interviewing a Randall Smith? No, couldn't be. Could it? Afraid so. Because the reporter and the shed merchant are niece and uncle. So when dear Uncle Randall wanted to pitch his story to Channel 9...
I called her directly.
And he was so chuffed with his niece's plumping of the company, he posted this candid, behind-the-scenes snap to Facebook before telling us...
She's been to her boss and had it approved. How is that a conflict of interest? She has no financial interest in this. She's done nothing wrong.
And asked whether Nine's viewers should have known that news hound Sarah's family owned the company at the centre of her television story, Randall said he didn't know.
It does not worry me. I could not care less.
And why should you, Randall? Meanwhile, what did our young homemakers make of the cosy connection?
We thought it was great advertising for his shed business. We were wondering, how did he get it?
Case closed. We asked Channel 9 about this all-in-the-family affair and whether Sarah Smith really did get its permission to broadcast this great advertising for her uncle. A spokesperson told us...
It was an oversight on the day not to disclose the reporter's personal connection. We have reviewed our processes, but stand by the objective reporting of the issue.
To be fair to Sarah, it's a mistake any of us might make. Next week on Media Watch, how better blocks make building a breeze. And that's all from us tonight. Be sure to check us out on ABC iView, as well as YouTube and Facebook. You can find full statements on our website. And don't forget to send us your tips. See you next week.